This is a tutorial on the Reflux ZwoBot device. If you're not familiar with ZwoBot, I'd recommend you go back and watch some of my earlier tutorials, and I'll put a link to those in the top right corner of the screen now. And if you'd like to buy ZwoBot, there is a link in the description. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the Reflux device, which creates a feedback diffusion effect. I've loaded this image into one of my video decks, and I'm just going to switch the device on. I've already connected it to my player here, and if I switch it on and we hit play, you can see that feedback effect is coming into play. So the first R we've got here is FX Amplify, and I think this controls which direction on the Z axis the feedback is going. So when it's turned to the right, it seems to be going in the opposite direction of where we're facing, whereas if you bring it this way, it's coming towards us. And the further along it is, the bigger the feedback is. So you can make it more or less subtle. Then we've got contrast, which, fairly self-explanatory, controls the contrast of the effect. Then we've got flow adjust, which adds this flowy movement to the effect, and as you move it to the right, it moves to the bottom right of the screen, and then if you move it to the left, it moves to the top left. And the further across it is, the further that flow effect is going to be. So you can see the more I'm moving it, the further into the top left corner it's going, and the more blurred the image is getting. Here we've got Sharpen, so that just sharpens the image up. So if you don't want it to be too blurred, you can turn this up. And then density controls the thickness of the feedback effect. So as you bring it up, you can see you're getting these kind of ripples in there, whereas if you bring it down, it makes it smoother. In the bottom left hand corner, we've got our usual transparency and blend modes controls. So this controls the overall transparency of the effect, and then we have a selection of blend modes that will blend the effect with the underlying image. All of these controls have beat controls, so if you select this button to the left of them, that will mean that each of these parameters will change randomly in accordance with your master beat control on your ZwoBot player. So currently it's off, so they're not changing at all. But if I change this to one note, you'll see all of these are now changing randomly every note, which is going to be synced to your project tempo. And they all also have audio responsive controls. So if I turn off these beat controls, I'm going to turn on some of these audio responsive controls. You can either have them respond to the lower frequencies or the higher frequencies. So I'm going to choose low on FX Amplify. I'll choose high on, actually I'll leave contrast in the middle. Maybe density, I'll put to high. Sharpen I'll leave as is, and flow adjust I'll have the beat control on that. So now if I unmute this audio, we will see how these two controls are responding to the song. This is a track by an artist called Veins Full of Static. The song is called Luminous Void, and it's taken from his new album A House Wrapped in Sleep, released on Machine Records. I'll put a link to that in the description. So let's unmute this. Just going to change the image, so maybe I'll load in a video here instead to see what that looks like.